Everyone, in this video tutorial we are looking into variables. A variable in JavaScript. Okay, like I have here, I try to explain what variable is. It says in programming, a variable is a value that can change depending on condition or on information passed to it. Okay, or you can equally say a variable is like a container that holds a value, and this value can change during execution time. For example, in JavaScript, if you want to start naming a variable, you can say let me say name. Let me say the name is equals to Paul. Okay, now you notice that I use a quote. Yes, because this variable is an alphabet. Assuming I want to name a variable for a number, I can say variable, the name of this variable is number, or you can use any name at all, and I say it's equals to 100. You see, when I'm naming a number, I don't put it in quote, but when I'm naming an alphabet, I put it in quote. What about if I need a variable that has both alphabet and numbers? What do? I can do something like this. Variable, let me call this, the name of this variable, number alphabet. When you are naming a variable, okay, I will come to that. I can say Paul in quote plus 100. Okay, here now the name of this variable now is number alphabet, and what I want this variable to carry, the value of this variable is Paul. Okay, and number, you see I use Paul plus number. In JavaScript we are using this plus now to concatenate or to join these together. So this variable now has both name, both alphabet and number. I can equally do something like this. Variable of number. Okay, let me say for 100. Okay, here I am putting all of them in quotes, both Paul and the 100. It will still work, but the problem is that variable will be seeing this one as an alphabet as well. You cannot calculate anything with it. Okay, when you are naming a variable, you don't give space. Naming a variable rules. No space. You don't give space. Also, you don't start with number. Don't start with number, and also don't start with special characters. Okay, don't start with special characters. So this is I mean that this is a small, an acronym of or a short form of writing characters. Okay, just manage it like that. But what I mean here is don't start with special character like naming a variable like this. Let me shift this guy. Naming a variable like at. No, we don't name variable like this. We don't name variable with starting with any characters like this. No. Here we don't start a variable with a number like you say 3er. No, rather the right one is er1, er1, er2, er3. You understand? So we don't start variable with we don't start variable with any number. Then when you are naming a variable, you don't give it space like ty space. No. For example, I want to say num alpha like this. We don't name variable giving a space. Rather, we do something like this: num alpha together like this, or num underscore alpha. Okay, this is how we name variable. We don't give a space. Whenever you are naming a variable, you don't start with a number, you don't start with a special characters like this, and that. Okay, let's just go and test these things. Okay, as you can see in my desktop, I have already created a folder known as GS, where I'll be doing my JavaScript stuff. So I'll open my Visual Studio Code, go to File, open folder. Okay, this is my desktop already, as you can see here. So I just select the JavaScript, select the folder. Okay, it will now load. Yes, there is nothing inside this folder, so I have to start creating my own file. Okay, let me create the first file. I'll call it variable.html. Okay, this is the variable. This is the HTML file. Okay, I do my HTML version 5 stuff to get the basic tag. Okay, let me call the title variables. Okay, like I said in JavaScript, you can implement JavaScript in 3 ways. Let me clear this. Okay, let me leave it. Let me use this place. Let me just do the JavaScript. You can declare it in 3 ways. One is the external. Okay, we have the internal. Okay, and we have the inline, just like the way we do in CSS. If you follow through our CSS video, you will notice how these are implemented and their power. The same thing is applicable in JavaScript. But actually in JavaScript, we are not trying to overwrite any code. Any code you written, you don't need to write another code that will overwrite it. Okay, so just know that we have external JavaScript, we have the internal, and we have the inline. Okay, so I'll be doing with the internal JavaScript for now, but as time goes on, I would like to equally do the external. But remember, now we are focusing on variables. So when I want to implement this, I will not teach you how to do it. Okay, so back to our code here. I want to start naming a variable. Okay, let me just write h1. Okay, welcome to our JS tutorial. Okay, so inside this header now, this head tag, that is where I'm going to start doing my JavaScript of a thing. Start giving an example of variable, and let's see whether what we have taught here, whether these things are true or not. Okay, let me close it, so I mistakenly open it. Okay, here now, in writing JavaScript, just like the name script, you start with script tag. Okay, then your JavaScript code goes here. In internal JavaScript, it doesn't really matter whether you put it in the head or in the body, anywhere you put it, as long as you don't put it outside HTML here and outside here. As long as you don't put it outside the HTML tag, it's ideal, it will work. Okay, like I said, in JavaScript, whenever you want to name a variable, you start with var like this. The second thing that comes is the variable name. Okay, let me say that this variable name is fruits. Okay, fruit. The name of this variable is fruit. Okay, now I said this fruit is orange. Okay, now if I want to call this orange now, I will call the variable name. What I'm saying is that computer creates a variable fruit. The value of this variable is orange. So anytime I want to call, let me use this alert stuff. I will talk about it later. I can now say computer tell me what is fruit. Okay, let me repeat again. This is the variable name. This is the value I am assigning to this variable, and anytime I want to call this value, I have to call it through its name now, which is fruit. Okay, let me test this code and see what we have. Okay, you see it now. We have orange. That is the value of that variable. Okay, let me change this variable now. Let me call this variable orange, comma, apple. Okay, if I run this code again, you see the variable name changes. Just like I says in programming, the value that can change depending on the condition or on the information passed to it. So that we have changed the information that we passed to it, the variable change. Let's change the condition and see what will happen. Okay, like I thought before, this is a variable that has an alphabet. What about a variable that has a number? Okay, let me say variable. The name of this variable is add. I will now say is equals to 200 plus 720. Okay, what this variable will give me is 200 plus 720 will give you 920. So anytime I call this variable add, I am going to get 920 because the value of this variable is 200 plus 720. Now computer understand that this variable, this is a number, this is a number. So what it will do is to calculate this stuff for me. Okay, let me say add. Okay, let's test this code. You see what we have, 920. But also we can use this plus in JavaScript to join words together, especially when we want to combine alphabet and number. Okay, let me create another variable. Let me call this variable half underscore number. Okay, it's equals to, I say orange $600. Okay, now you see I am joining this alphabet and number together just like I have explained before now. Okay, coming to my code, I refresh, you see what I have. Okay, 920, yes, 920 because I was calling this variable add. Okay, let me now call this variable half number. Okay, back to my code, I end the old execution, test my new code now. You see what I have. Okay, this is just the value that I assigned to this. So this plus is not showing. I just use this plus to join these together. Let me show you the code again. You see it's orange 600. Okay, like I said, in alphabet you use quotes to cover them. Then in number, no quote. Okay, but in alphabet and number you use quote for the alphabet, then the number has no quote, but now you use plus to join both the number and the alphabet together. I join this together using plus and I assign this to this variable. That's why anytime I call this variable, it shows like this. Okay guys, let's proceed from where we stop in our variable video tutorial. Okay, let me move this here. Okay, so that it will not be blocking our view. Okay, here we have talked about this, giving a typical example and testing it. Equally this, and this. Okay, so we are looking at now naming a variables. I say whenever you are naming a variable, you don't give space. For instance, if you name a variable like this, you say var of number is equals to, okay, character plus number like this. Okay, let me just give it only a character like this. You see it's showing me red, indicating that I made a mistake. You can't name a variable given a space. If I call this, JavaScript will not work, my code will not run because I made it. You don't give a space, okay, whenever you are naming a variable. Okay, let me test it out. You see nothing happened. There was an error because I give a space. Okay, so in naming a variable, you don't give space, you don't start with numbers, and you don't start with special characters. Okay, that is for naming a variable. Okay, I think that's all we have in variable. Okay, that is all we have in variable. Bye bye guys.